There's been so many new developments in the Lukso verse, and you guys chose the #1 place in the crypto space to come get your updates. Hey guys, welcome to the first anti-hedge Lukso newscast, where we'll be covering all the new updates on Lukso in one convenient little newscast. We're basically going to be condensing all the most recent updates on Lukso in a convenient little video that you guys could sift through and grab whatever information you might need. One thing I do gotta say is that this is not financial advice, and it's strictly here for news and educational purposes. So if you like this kind of content, you should definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and stay up to date with all the information as it's coming out. So to start this newscast, I just wanted to mention that Lukso was actually brought up on CNN via an article. And this is the first time that Lukso has actually been brought up in MSM. And for people that don't know, MSM is mainstream media. For me, this is a big deal because up until this point, we've heard absolutely nothing about Lukso anywhere except for channels like me and a few people that are very much webbed into the Luksoverse that actually care about seeing the project exposed, because Lukso is basically held together by NDAs, which are non-disclosure agreements, which don't allow very much information to come out on the product. But in this article, they basically spoke about Lukso's mission statement, which is heavily based on the idea of using blockchain technology to end the era of fraudulent activities on luxury consumer brands, namely Nike, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy, which is another direct partner of Lukso, and making sure that all these brands could protect their products by having verifiable proof of their products in the blockchain, which would include where it's made, how it's made, what materials, everything about the product in a blockchain. Sounds pretty crazy, right? This is the other thing that's interesting. They also mentioned Ariane in the article, and Ariane is a direct partner of Lukso, and it is the blockchain consortium that uses RFID chips, which are basically little tracking chips, to verify the legitimacy of a product, as well as giving it an actual authentication number. Here's another thing that I wanted to mention is that they did not mention Lukso until the end of the article. So they mentioned the mission statement, they mentioned many of the partners, but only at the end did they say that Lukso would be tackling this. And I find that interesting because you would think that they would put that as a headliner, but they don't want that as a headliner because then people would know that Lukso is valuable too early before bags have been accumulated. That's what becomes very interesting. So towards the end of the article, I'll even send the screenshot. It'll be right next to me as I'm saying it. They mention Lukso's name directly, and that's the first time I've seen Lukso mentioned directly in a mainstream news source. Now, another very important piece of Lukso news that just came out is that they officially developed their first browser extension, and it's very similar to MetaMask, but Lukso, so better. And why is that so special? Because now you could take your universal profile, utilize it via an extension like MetaMask, and be able to interact with the Lukso blockchain and whatever future dApps it will be developing. So keep your eyes peeled because there's going to be a new ecosystem coming out of this project that you'll be able to mess around with. And I'm very excited to see how that's going to be developed. One thing I will say is also this. To set it up, it's very simple. There is a tutorial. Alt Anonymous, which is someone who I'm in contact with relatively often via Twitter, this, that, he actually just dropped a tutorial on how to set up your universal profile, showing how simple it is, and I'll be leaving a link in the description just down below to that video, so that way if you need any help setting up your profile, you could have that as a reference. Alt Anonymous, we really appreciate that you took the time to do that for us. So another key important part of this Lukso video is that I wanted to mention that they have updated their website. And why I like that is because it shows that the team is still active. They haven't stopped caring about the project, and the new website looks a lot cleaner, and it gives a little bit of like almost a visual representation of how they see it a bit. So it's like, obviously this is pretty simple. Welcome to the multiverse. it'll show you how they're basically explaining Lukso and why they want to build it the way it is. One of the things that I really wanted to say as well is, you can see here, it shows you the universal profiles, NFT 2.0. It talks a lot about what their mission statement is for Lukso, and it visualizes it very nicely compared to their old website, which was a little bit cut and dry. Definitely more appealing to the eye. Another thing too that I wanted to mention is that they did update their white paper as well. So it looks a lot cleaner. And as you can see here, like, it's a relatively large white paper, and I've spoken with my team. We're considering covering the white paper in a little bit more detail in the future, but I would like to be able to take the time to dissect it properly. Another thing too that I wanted to mention on the website was that they have learned more about Lukso area, which basically shows all these different things broken down via Fabian and Marjorie and all their direct Lukso links. And if you look even further, we have here, explore example dApps, and they opened up this page right here. And from there, you could actually see the repositories, the guides, and how they're going to be setting up some of the examples of the future of the dApplications on Lukso network. So definitely a lot to take in on this website. Definitely recommend checking it out if you're a Lukso head. So as I briefly mentioned before, we had the example dApps on the Lukso website, and I personally don't know how to check the repositories and see exactly what's happening on these example dApps myself. But I am in communications with some people that are working on these dApps in the community, and they mentioned something very interesting that I think everyone should keep their eyes peeled for, and that is called the Universal Page dApp. What's that, you might be asking? This is actually very interesting. So basically, what they're planning on doing is creating a universal profile that allows you to use your universal profile as a website as well as an NFT marketplace. That's kind of a big deal. Personally, when I hear something like that, everyone could basically interact not only as an OpenSea, but as their own website. Like, that's a clear game changer. That'll change the entire direction of Web3, blockchain, as well as NFTs, and being able to participate in a creative economy. It's a big deal. And personally, I'm very excited to see how that's going to be developed. Don't be shocked if you see Lukso leading the next bull run that's coming in 2023, 2024. It's very likely that applications like that are going to be a huge part of what the crypto space will look like in the future. So we hope that you enjoyed our Lukso newscast. There will be many more of these to come, because as you guys know by now, we are the #1 channel covering Lukso. We love Lukso. We will hold it and talk about it till the bitter end. Whether it hits its lowest low or its highest high, we genuinely believe in this project, and we will always keep our viewers up to date. So if you really enjoyed this style of content, we would appreciate it if you liked, commented, subscribed, and continue sending love to our channel. Take care.